Today is installment 3 of a 5-part series looking at how to create a strong fundraising offer. So when you look at an offer, as you know, this is a quick recap, but as you know, an offer is really composed of 4 main parts. You've got the problem, solution, you've got price point, and you've got urgency and a deadline. So that's what makes up a strong fundraising offer. Now there are some nuances in there, and so that's why we're doing a 5-part series, because the 5th part is going to talk about how do you raise undesignated funding. So let's talk about solutions. Solutions imply that there's a problem. Now we're already hitting some friction here because look at your mailbox. How many pieces of direct mail have you gotten? And instead of sharing a story of need where we're talking about struggle and then they ask for a gift, how many pieces of mail share the whole happy story and then ask for a gift? You can't share a complete story and then assume your donor is going to know that they're needed. You've made no indication of that. There cannot be a solution where there is no problem. So I want to look at a piece of direct mail created by an agency. I like a lot of their work. This piece I felt seriously missed the mark, and so I want to go over it with you because it explains this problem here of, writing a letter, asking for funds when you've already solved the problem that you're talking about in the letter. So let's look at this. Okay. I gotta just say a couple things for you because it's really helpful to learn when somebody deconstructs something. So just a couple things to deconstruct. Problem number 1, in the top right-hand corner, we have a white man yelling. Given the environment that we're in, there should definitely not be a white man in the top right-hand corner. I'm sorry, it's just the way it is. And he shouldn't be yelling. So that real estate should be based, you should be putting the offer there, something compelling, something that makes them read more, which generally speaking ends up being a deadline, ends up being the offer. All we have here is a man yelling, saying 2021 annual campaign, all right? I thought that was hilarious. There's no paragraph indents. There's no visual points of entry here. The paragraphs are all the same size, so it looks visually, again, difficult to read. Where's the bolded and emphasized text? There is none. I'm looking at a wall of text. It's the Great Wall of China. Also, where is the you language? I mean, if you zoom in, there is no you language. At least we have a hello and with the name merged in. But then the solution is not compelling because there really is no problem. I mean, I didn't spend much time on this, but they're just trying to raise funds for an annual campaign. So problem number 1, what's the problem? And problem number 2, we're talking about solutions today. There cannot be a solution if there is no problem. See what I'm saying? So if you look at the action copy on this piece of direct mail, it's not a faux reply device. It is a reply device. You want to do a faux reply device and include a reply device if you're going to do this. It acts as a visual anchor, but you would want to have a separate reply device. Anyways, all I see here is because of generous members like you. That's what's been bolded. Help! Now, number 2, the solution needs to perfectly match the problem. This is a little bit nuanced, but it's a big deal. So let's say you share a story of a little girl in Malawi. I'm working with someone right now and they're in Malawi. Let's say that you tell a story about her walking to school every day barefoot. It's a dangerous journey. There's kidnapping in the area. There's sexual violence. And she's also really hungry. And so that long walk barefoot to school is brutal. Now you might offer a solution of, hey donor, would you donate today to give her a meal so she's not hungry anymore? What's the problem here? The problem is you've presented 5 problems. We've got sexual violence, we've got a long walk to school, we've got bare feet, we've got what's the other one? We've got kidnappings, and then hunger. So that's 5 problems. So what you would do instead would be only talk about the hunger. You could still talk about her walking to school. Donor, this little girl walks 3 miles to school every day. This is a hard trip to make when your tummy is empty and you can hear it growling. It's hard to pay attention in school. She's having a hard time sleeping because something related to hunger, okay? You want to keep the problem very much about the one solution you're asking the donor to provide if she gives a gift. Does that make sense? So we're going to review another piece of direct mail from this agency that sadly, is that from the agency? From the agency. So we're going to review another piece of direct mail from this agency that normally does great work, but don't like this one either for many, many reasons. So for example, you'll look at the letter itself. The formatting is great, multiple visual points of entry. You'll see there's some variation between paragraph lengths. We've got a sentence long, a sentence long paragraph, a 3-sentence long paragraph, a 4-sentence. So this is really good variation. It looks easy to read. It's also, the margins are good. There's no distracting images on the side that don't pertain to the ask itself. Look at the action copy. When you support blah, blah, blah. You are helping vulnerable children around the world. Now, we talked about problems. You cannot present a global problem to a one donor. You just can't. Also, what does vulnerable mean? I have no idea what that looks like. And what is my gift doing? Am I helping? But what is the actual solution? Because I will help do many things. So tell me what the solution is that I can give. Also, if you're gonna take advantage, which you should, of that top right-hand corner, you wanna make that text more visually emphasized, so it's almost like the same size as the rest of the body text. You wanna make it bigger, maybe a different font, maybe a different color that's high contrast, so just FYI. So we started with the letter, but I wanna show you the outer envelope. Fight Famine and Extreme Hunger 2019 campaign. It says a special invitation for, that should have been the only action copy. That should have been the only teaser. A special invitation for. Don't label the envelope that you're gonna ask for money for the very thing you're gonna ask for. Okay, so let's dive into the letter. It says, Dear preferred name, as Presbyterians, we come to you to tell you about the urgent and pressing need that exists as famine rages across Africa and to ask for your help. Now, this is a great thing to do, to lead with the need within the first 3 paragraphs. You want to get to it early. That should have been bolded because that's what you're asking for today. Now, real quick, going up to the sentence above, you shouldn't talk about violence of hunger because that's jargon. So you would just say, I don't know, you just say that we want to alleviate hunger, not violence of hunger. Now, if we go to paragraph 4, it starts telling you the reasons why we're in a humanitarian crisis. We're kind of drifting now from the need for food for famine. So they're talking about violent conflicts. They're talking about vulnerable nations. They're talking about drought, flooding, increased erratic and dangerous weather, climate change. And then they're saying, all this has jeopardized food production. I understand 100% why this is here. I would suggest that by spending 2 to 3 paragraphs talking about violence and climate change and such, you're distracting a bit from the offer, which is today to help a problem, hunger and famine, and the solution would be your gift will give what? I still don't know what my gift will do. So do you see what I'm saying? This is fine. If this was a 4-page letter, keep it in. I just would definitely make sure you stay on target, that you are presenting a problem that the donor can solve and that you're actually asking for. You really want to stay focused. And then on top of that, a letter shouldn't be educating. I understand, like again, if this was a 4-page letter, this is great stuff to have in there because 4 pages do better. It's in the donor's hands longer. But on the first page and in high traffic areas, you talk clearly about the problem at hand, the solution that perfectly meets that particular problem's need, and that you ask. And so throughout this letter, you'll see the bolding. We've bolded conceptual stuff. So like, despite violence, fear, and pain, faithful ministry continues. Okay, well, they're meeting the problem. They don't even need me. The solution has been met. Do you see how these mistakes compound on each other and will hurt your performance? So take home point number 2, make sure that the solution perfectly matches the problem. And in your letter, you build it out talking specifically about one person, one family. Keep it one that's being hurt, that has a problem, and make sure that it's very clear in your story how the solution perfectly meets the need. So, point number 3, if you watched last week's video, you know that the problem has to be immediately understandable by your donor. There can't be, you can't spend seconds trying to figure out what does violence of hunger mean, what is the problem and what is the solution. The solution needs to be immediately understandable. Now, my last and final point is to avoid these 2 kiss of death solutions. It would be number 1, providing hope, which would be the conceptual, emotional summary of all it is that you provide and asking someone to give hope. Now, you can use the word hope in the body copy, but not in the actual offer itself. And then number 2, don't ask them to partner with you. That is very much organization-centric. It's not about the donor. It is conceptual, and it's not immediately understandable. We know that partner means join us, but what the solution actually is not immediately understandable. Now, just so you know, close cousins of these 2 would be something like give access, or make dreams come true, which is conceptual, vague, can't be pictured. It might be something like give prosperity. Well, that's conceptual. What does that actually mean? What does that look like? It might be transform lives. That's also pretty poor because it's neutral. Like, is it transform lives for the better? Ultimately, the solution should not be about you, the organization, and what it is you provide, and it can't be frou-frou, not understandable. So, on that note, my name's Danielle Wallace. This is Dude. I'm the owner of Grow Better. He doesn't help me run it. And I help small to mid-sized nonprofits optimize their fundraising results. And so I work with lots of different types of nonprofits, whether they're small or medium-sized. I have yet to work with a large one, but I'm reviewing large ones and their direct mail, and I think they could use me too. But if you need help raising funds, doing a capital campaign, you know you have room to improve, book a call with me. We'll set up a chat, listen to what your needs are, and I will let you know for a good fit, and then we can move on from there. So anyways, thanks for your time, and I will see you next week.